Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte, I come from Norway and I love makeup, and today I'm very happy to be doing two looks, one palette with the Club Nebula palette by Kaleidos Makeup and Angelica Nyqvist, and I was so lucky to get this in PR, so thank you so much for Kaleidos Makeup for giving this to me. I did already do a video on this palette, doing eye swatches with each and every single shadow in this palette, so if you haven't already checked it out, I will leave a card up here so you can look at that video. But for this video I'm going to do two different looks. The one I'm wearing here, which is more like a villainy sultry look, and then I will also do a more springy look with the red and the orange and yeah, some other shade. But first I'm just going to do some swatches. I already filmed some macro videos with finger swatches of these where you can really see the shifts, and yeah, I hope that you will enjoy that. So that's what's coming first, and then I will show the two different looks that I've done with this palette, and in the end I will of course like sum up my opinions about this palette. So let's get going to the swatches first. For my first look using this palette, I really want to be dipping into the red and the light orange, and I think I'm going to make a cut crease where I basically remove all the shadow in the shape that I want the cut crease to be, and then I think I will use a white concealer and add this one on top just to have like a very light but also shifty lid color. And I really want to use the multichrome as a liner. So to begin with, I'm just starting with this red giant shade with my Kaleidos Makeup S5 brush, and I do have my Kaleidos Makeup tone activator on, and I'm just going to basically be placing this all the way through my crease because I want this one to like be the deepening shade, but I don't want the look to be like super dark, and I'm going to blend it with the coral shade that is called Samus. So I think I'm happy with the placement of this because you can just see the deepness of the red. Maybe I will add it a little bit further up just because I will be probably also going in with a liner by mixing one of the shimmers with some glue. So yeah, I'll just make it a little bit higher up just so I'll make sure that I will be keeping that depth of the red shade even when I'm cutting the crease. So I did end up winging it out a little bit, and now I'm going into the shade Samus. And I'm just going to be packing that, as you can see, like right here where you can see that the red isn't as opaque, basically where I just blended it. I'm really loving the blend this far. I'm of course going to go back into that red because I did apply some of the peachy orange one kind of like on top of the red but they blended so beautifully, so I'm really happy with how they applied this far. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the same with my other eye, and then I will just use a Q-tip with micellar water and cut the crease, and then I will use my white concealer from Makeup Revolution, and I'll be back. Okay, so as I said, I added the white concealer. I'm now going into the shade Nova. I'm just going to try to tap a little bit because I can see it's a little bit uneven. The glitter glue is a new one that I haven't really used much before. So I'm just adding this all over the lid. So now I made sure to really work it into the glue. I can see a little bit of that like patchiness that I had before I laid the shadow on, so I'll try to be a little bit more careful with this eye, but it's not something you'll actually see very much. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that deep red that I used in my outer corner just to make sure that these blend nicely together, and I'll just finish off the other eye as well, and then I will go in with the liners that I'm thinking of doing for this look. So I just put the shade Nebula here on the back of my hand, and I'm mixing it with that glitter glue that I used, and I'm using this brush that I usually use to apply glitter glue on the eye just because it has like quite a sharp edge. So I'm just trying to like mix them together so that I have a nice consistency. This is just the primer, and then I'm going to try to apply that as my cut crease, like a border or like a liner there. So I just started here in the middle, and I'm really trying to not make it too thick because I find it kind of hard to correct it. So something I often do is I lay the brush like this, and then I can suddenly like stamp on. So it's easier if you really hold it as close to 90 degrees as possible. Okay, so I am pretty happy with this liner. I might make it a little bit more opaque, and yeah, I don't really know. But I'm just going to mix and do the same with the deepest multi-chrome, I think, and then I will use that as a liner from maybe here to the outer wing right there. So here I have the mixture of some glue. I ended up using my BH Cosmetics glitter glue because it doesn't dry as fast as the Glam Shop one. And now I'm just going to add that as a liner. So that is basically the top part of my eye look done. I'm going to use a cotton stick and take away right here to make a sharp line and do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be back for the lower lash line. I just finished my face makeup. I used the Cool and Light Contour Kit by Kaleidos Makeup and their Lo-Fi Peach blush, and I'm actually going to use their Prophecy highlighter that they sent me, and I haven't used it. I have only swatched it for some macro shots, so I'm really excited to try this on my cheek. I did also get this new precision highlighter brush H2 from them. I think I was supposed to get the rest too, but they weren't in the package, so I don't really know what happened, but I'm just happy to get anything really. But I guess it's time to use this on my face. So I really don't want to add way too much because it has quite a light, almost white base, but I don't want it too opaque. Like, it looks beautiful this far, but I really like to buff it in so that you don't really see too much of like the glitter particles. So that's why I'm like rubbing it in so much. And I don't know if you can see it, but it just left like this beautiful sheen. And I can actually see the green when I like switch to the side here. I see the green. I don't know if you even saw anything. But yeah, just wanted to try that one on camera so you also could see how it looks like. And I have decided that for my lower lash line I really want to use the shade that I used for my cut crease liner, the shade Nebula. So I'm just going to add the red. So I'm just going to add this one basically where I want to have the shimmer shade, just so we can really make that one pop. And then I'm going to blend it out with the same shade here, the shade Samus. So these shadows apply really beautifully on the lower lash line. I will be using some glitter glue. So now I'm adding the shade Nebula. So that is basically the look. I will be adding something to my waterline and finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll show you the close-up. so that is my first look finished, and personally I just love how these shadows applied. It was so easy to use them. They blended so nicely together and the shimmers are so sparkly. I'm so excited about it and I cannot wait to use some more shadows for my look tomorrow. That will be the next look coming up. Before that though, I wanted to also say what I used for my lips. I will of course leave everything down in my description box, but I did use their lip tonic in injection that I also got gifted from them, and I used it in combination with my Colourpop lip pencil in BFF2, which is a little bit darker, so that made it a little bit more of an ombre lip, which I really love. And I just love this color because it's like a nude, but it's a little bit warm toned and almost leaning orangey. But now let's go on to the next look. Okay, so for this look I really want to do something purple and green, I think. I have a little visitor right here sitting on my arm, so if you hear some weird noises, it's just Luke. But I'm going to go into the shade Rock Hopper using my Kaleidos Makeup S3 brush, and I did actually experience a little bit of patchiness with the red right here in the outer crease, which was really weird. So today I'm using my NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base instead, so hopefully that will work a little bit better with these shadows. It does seem to be blending out quite nicely. I will be going in with a detailed brush afterwards. They actually laminated my brows myself for the first time, which is why they're looking kind of crazy, but I'm hoping it will look better once I have my makeup on. So now I want to go in with the shade Gravity, which is a bright lime green, and I'm going to basically be placing that on the other half of the lid. This is, by the way, my S5 brush from Kaleidos Makeup, and I'm going to be very careful when I'm making the shadows meet, because obviously these two probably won't blend very nicely together. I'm basically just slightly tapping, and you don't really need much more than that, because if you start blending you will just have muddiness, so I'm trying to avoid that. And now I'm just going to make sure the base is set, so I'm using some setting powder. This is just my Glam Shop Matte HD powder, and I'm just going to use that to like slightly buff out the edges. I will say, by the way, that the texture on my lid right now, it's quite rough because I did my eye swatches yesterday and I was using my Glam Shop glue, which apparently had alcohol in it, so it was stinging a lot. After I had like removed 6 other shadows and then I put the last shimmer on with the Glam glue, it was really stinging, so I don't know if you can see that, but my eye is a little bit more textured than it usually is. But now I'm just going to go back in with the mattes that I used and make sure I have them as intense as I want, right above where I want to have like my fog cut crease. And I think I'll just be going in with the shade Firefly. It's the first one in the palette. And I will probably just try to use that all over the lid, because Angelica said in her video that these shimmers are kind of like topper shimmers, and that's usually how I use all my shimmers, even though they're not really iridescent, but they will transform when they have a different base underneath them. So you will be able to make a lot of different looks depending on what you put under the shimmers. So I'm just adding my trusted BH Cosmetics Base Booster all over the lid. I think I'll just go in with my finger so that I don't have like the sharpest of lines. I'm trying not to mix too much of the colors together, so I'm trying like to focus on the green first and then I can go into the purple. I just had to make sure that I dispersed the glue a little bit first, so I don't have all the glue here. But now I'm just going to go in with the shade Firefly. I'm going to just really work it into the glitter glue. I'm trying not to apply too harsh on the corner right here, or like on the edge. And as I did in my eye swatching video, I'm just going to use my finger to really get the intensity that I want on the middle of the lid. But I'm going to be careful with the edges, as I said, so that I don't get too much of a sharp line. So that's basically what I wanted to do. It's quite simple, but I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup and we will see if I will do anything different for my lower lash line. So I did my face makeup. I used my Cool Night contour kit from Kaleidos Makeup, and then I used their Lo-Fi Rose blush. It's the one that's called Mood, the one that is matte. And I used Laser Glazer, which is like the kind of more deeper green duochrome highlighter. I think they might have discontinued it, but I just used like a very light hand and it looks really pretty in my opinion, like a very light sheen. So for the lower lash line, I'm going in with the shade Void, which is that more navy blue. So I think I'm going to use this, and then I think I want to blend it into Cylon, which is the warmer berry tone that I will have more closer to the inner corner. And then I will just blend these out. I don't want them to be like super smoked out, so I'm not going to go further down with the pigment than this, and then I'll just blend the edges. So now I'm taking Cylon and I'm just trying to buff out the edges. This one is actually looking really similar to Rock Hopper, but I mean, you do kind of see that this one is warmer and this one is more cool toned. I'm also just taking a tiny bit more off a Rock Hopper right here in the corner, just to make sure that I'm like continuing the line that I kind of created here, so that it like doesn't dip in. Nothing more than this, I think. And then I'm just going to add some glitter glue, like where I have the most pigmentation of these mattes, and then I'm going to add You're My Only Hope, the sparkly lavender one. So I kind of want this, you can almost see the line right here for the inner corner, so I want to like intensify that and make it a little bit sharper, because that's going to like create an illusion of a bigger inner corner. Something just like this. And then I will go ahead and use the shade Nova for the inner corner. I'm going to use some white liner first, so I really get that boom sparkly inner corner. So I'm just using my Linda Hallberg white crayon, and then I'm taking the shade Nova. I didn't even add any glitter glue because the crayon is a little bit sticky once you first put it down. And since I did dab a little bit on top of this shade, I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then I'm just buffing underneath here to make sure I get the blend that I want. So I'm just going to go and add some lashes, mascara, and some black liner on my upper lash line, and then I'll be back to show you the close-up and try to show off the shifts and sparkles a little bit. That is my second look finished, and I really like how this look turned out. It ended up being a lot more sultry than I first expected it to be, but I think that has mostly to do with what I decided to do for my lower lash line. But I love these colors, and I do feel like she was really right, Angelica, of course, when she said that these shimmers do transform quite a lot when you use different shadows. That's also what I usually do with my makeup. If you've been here before, you know that I typically just use glitter glue on top of mattes instead of like cutting or carving out the crease, and that works fine for me, and I really think that shimmers look good like that. I am really excited to see if these shadows will stay put the whole night. It's already like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but I will be wearing this look until probably I go to bed, and I will definitely make sure to add it right here, right now, and take some footage of it if it creases or anything. So it's only been about 3 hours, and I do not have any kind of creasing. I don't think I will have, but I just wanted to note one thing, that when I was, excuse my marks from my glasses, but when I was taking my photos and stuff, I noticed that it was not looking as blended as I thought it would. Because in real life it looked really blended, but I did see that it was a little bit, not even necessarily patchy, but I don't know. I mean, you can see for yourself. You can see that it's not super opaque right there. I think it has something to do with how I applied it, but I'm not 100% sure. I just thought it was something to like to note, but I mean, other than that, I absolutely love this look. I did also forget to mention, I wanted to say something about their launch, and I have two things, like two critical points that I wanted to say, and it was the fact that now with the shipping, they have been saying a lot of different things to their customers, like, okay, we will be done. My puppy is crazy. They've been saying that like, oh, today it's going to be all orders shipped out, but then people are waiting several more days, and then they say again, it's all going to be shipped out. So I wish that they would have communicated a little bit better with their customers. So I just felt like there were a little bit of mixed messages. And then another point that I feel like is very, very important is that even though the palette itself has a lot of deep shadows and is very inclusive, they did not have any swatches on deep or black skin, which I really feel like they should have had. So I think that was really a big miss, because they have been improving on their inclusivity in general and using black models, dark models. So I just really wanted to point that out. So yeah, that was two things that I had totally forgot to mention because I was just playing with the palette. But I wanted to let you guys know about that as well. As for the other products that I used for this exact look, I ended up using my Colourpop lip pencil in BFF4, and then I used my Colored Rain satin lipstick, I think it's called. It's the regular lipsticks in Soul, which is this very like cool toned sultry lip, and I really liked it. I did use also a little bit of my Calm Mood a crayon from Linda Hallberg from my waterline, but it's not like too visible because I didn't want it to be like grass green. I wanted it to be more like the green that I have in my crease right here. So yeah, that's the products that I used, and I'll always leave them in my description box. So obviously when it comes to my thoughts on this palette this far, I have not used all of the shadows yet, but I do really like the color story. I feel like you can definitely do a lot with it. At first I was a little bit hesitant because I do have a lot of these colors already in my collection. I will probably also do a duping video with my single shadows in the future, so if there are any specific shadows you want to see in comparison, if they are similar enough, I will swatch them, so you can just comment down below. But I do really enjoy these shimmers. They're super sparkly. They are way more shifty than they look in the pan when you get them on the eye, in my opinion, and they're just really up my alley with the sparkles. And I will just say that Angelica did a great job curating this palette, and I feel like it's just so beautiful. So I'm so happy to have this in my collection, and I do think that I will be reaching for this. I'm super excited to be trying it together with the Escape Pod palette from Kaleidos Makeup, because I barely used that one and it has so many great colors, and this one has the perfect shadows to work with that, because then I can deepen it up. Because like Angelica, I love to deepen up my looks, and this palette will be perfect for using with all my other Kaleidos Makeup palettes because of the dark mattes. I do hope that you liked this video and that you liked my looks with the palette. Please comment down below which look was your favorite and what kind of looks you would do with this palette, because I feel like there's so many things you could do. And I would really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button if you like the video, and if you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. So hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!